YUNGBLUD dropped his new album, Idol. Sorry, I didn't even. It's just saying his name makes me. Okay, I'm gonna try and be a little more serious with this because it feels like this is a big stepping stone in his disc. Not even it feels like this is a massive stepping stone for his discography, for him as an artist. It is insane. This record is absolutely nothing like what he's released before. I mean, it's still in the alternative category to me as a Youngblood fan who's been listening to him
you,
for what,
you
like
couldn't help
6 years.
yourself.
No, I have to slip it in a little, like just a little bit. Who's been listening to him for like what, like 6, 7 years? I don't know. So we've covered a lot of his progression. This is a massive stepping stone, a massive step. It feels like he is changing genres. It feels like he's completely reinventing himself as an artist. Um, he's no longer kind of like the in your face, kind of like crazy, like what he was trying to present himself as with past releases. With his self-titled, I do remember it being kind of like a bit more mature and not as the song that's playing in my head is Medication because that was my introduction to him. I found him on the YouTube Explore page, like the most like how music should be found nowadays, where you just see something cool and you go, "What is that? Let me listen to that." And since then, I've been a fan. So he's no longer that young blood, and it's fine because he was like what, like 18, 19? I don't know. He was like a baby when he dropped that. So now he's like a grown ass man. So like I get it. You don't want to like write about medication and fucking yell and do whatever. But it's like bittersweet because this was one of my favorite artists when I was younger, and now he's not making music like that anymore. And it's like in my head, it's like nothing like it before. Um, I thought the record was fine. It's not my cup of tea, respectfully. It's definitely on the tamer side. It's not as bouncy. It's not as, I guess, pop centric. It's very kind of like classic rock, in my opinion, would be how I would categorize it. Um, but again, I think that's the circle he's trying to associate himself with. It's more mature, it's more refined, it's a lot less, I guess, childish, if you want to put that tag on it. Compared to, how he was presenting himself before. It was a little childish, which was fun, and that was his thing. But I'm just good for him, bad for me. That's my review. I'm I love seeing artists grow and evolve, and it's a natural evolution, and he's doing what he wants to do. I think the record's great, just not what I want. Um, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very clear that he's shooting for, like you said, this more mature version of Youngblood. And I think he's accomplishing it
Oh
with
yeah.
this record, because it's like he's just going for the classic rock opus basically with this
Yeah.
record, which is definitely ballsy considering where he's came from, and now he's just going for like a classic rock double album, because
Mm-hmm.
don't forget there's a second part to this album.
Oh,
The just in case you forgot about that one.
I did forget that.
But yeah, I think that the record, for what it is, being a classic rock inspired record for the most part, is good, and the mission that he's going for is accomplished on the record. But me personally, as a listener of music, I do not enjoy the record, and it's not my preconceived notions of the Youngblood or anything like that, because I found myself enjoying plenty of Youngblood's music over the course of the last several years that we've been doing this and covering his records. There's always been a few things here and there that have blown me away, although I am largely, in part, not someone that's ever quite fully understood Youngblood or really enjoyed it.
Give him a chance.
Yeah, dude, I've given him so many chances.
You have
But
5 years worth of chances. Yeah.
but this is just just like straight up not something that I would routinely listen to. Hence why it's just not my favorite. Although I think for what it is, because obviously I've heard plenty of music that sounds like this. It's a massive genre. It is very well executed and a great entrance into the genre. And Youngblood has always been someone that toes the line. It does different things with each release, which I respect about him as an artist. And I do think that him using this absolutely massive platform of and it being for the most part people from younger generations, and using it to spotlight the genre that these kids may not know because they're so young, is super dope. And I think that he does this style of music very well, this classic rock. But for me personally, it's not something that I would normally listen to. I wasn't a huge fan of the record. There's not much on here that would be like I have to come back to. And I just got to put it out there. It opens with that 9-minute song that he decided to also begin the album rollout with,
It's tough.
which is tough for sure. I think Monday Murder is pretty solid. That's probably my favorite off the record. I also do like Supermoon. I think it really ties the record together very nicely as the closer. But other than that,
the closer of side A.
Yeah. But other than that, I just think the rest of the record is fine. And like I said, very well executed for what he was going for. But as a listener, and giving my opinion on the music, I am not a fan.
I agree.